It isn't real. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, all that good stuff. You know the deal. Yeah, we're doing things a little different today, huh? That'll be fun. It'll be fun. And of course, if you're watching this on My Tesla Live, you're watching the live version. And if you're watching it on My Tesla Weekend, well, you know how that goes too. Over the weekend, condensed version, very cool. So, yeah, what are we up to today, huh? The demand cliff. Ah, yes. What about China? Did you hear that the demand is gone in China? It's gone. Because delivery times on the website showed a week, 7 days or less at the end of Q3. At the end of Q3. So that's weird, right? What are they doing? Well, that's the end of quarter push. You always deliver locally at the end. Tesla kills skeptics' demand problem narrative in China again. When Tesla released its third quarter vehicle delivery, well, the CPCA, the China Passenger Car Association, shows that last month was actually the second biggest month Tesla has ever had in the Chinese market. So that's fun. And yes, Digital Blade Canada, I can allow extra time. I think I can get through this one pretty quick. So yeah, it's the end of quarter. But the other thing was, there was a rumor last month in China that there was going to be a price drop in this month. And that was based on nothing as far as I can tell. It was based on absolutely nothing. Just a rumor. So the other good news is the tax credit, the incentives in China have been renewed. Tesla China reportedly cranking out exports faster than ever before. And that's good too because, yeah, despite a looming recession fear, this is the export hub. This is where all the cars go, come from, to go all over, certainly Southeast Asia, but to an extent also to Europe. So production's good, demand looks good, and yeah, it's the export hub. But what about the US? Oh no. A lot of people are going to wait for that $7,500 credit. Or at least they'd like to. They'd like to. But are they gonna? See, buying a car and want to go electric, you could get $7,500 tax credit, but with price comes income caps. So if you're Hertz and you're looking for more units, which they are, they don't qualify for this because I'm pretty sure Hertz has an income over $150,000. So for fleets, for rich people, this isn't going to be a thing. This is not going to be an issue. But there's also the fact that if you don't take delivery, you have to get in the back of the line and you have to pay today's prices. Because remember in March, they jacked up the prices. Probably orders today were from after March. Well, in June, they also jacked up the prices. So some of that savings could disappear on you if you don't take delivery. But it'd still be cheaper to wait, and some people may choose to do that. So that is a bit of a concern. But as James Stevenson pointed out in our chat recently, the any car that's built in Q4 that's not sold will be sold in Q1. It will be sold eventually. So then you've got, yeah, the tax credit. Oh, it's so confusing. Interestingly, 80,000 is the sales price cap for SUVs and 55,000 for other vehicles. This includes vans and pickup trucks. What is an SUV? Isn't it just, it's got sport, utility, and vehicle in the name. Certainly that's a thing, right? Well, in the pre-show chat, we were talking about the AMC Eagle. This is an SUV, surely. It's a hatchback. It's a compact. But, just put the Model 3 on stilts and boom, you got an SUV, right? It's four-wheel drive. And for that matter, isn't a Baja Bug an SUV? It's such a strange and arbitrary distinction, I say. So looking out into 2023, yeah, the U.S. has got, again, we're talking about demand, a demand problem. In 2023, big new incentives on the battery side as well, on the back end. That's going to lower Tesla's cost. And yeah, and for that matter, in the EU, the vehicles made at Giga Berlin do not have an import tax. And the import tax is substantial. So that also helps. A lot of countries in the EU have different EV incentives. Germany's is a little overly generous, perhaps. And there's always new markets to go into. There's, we just saw Model Y deliveries begin in Australia and New Zealand. There's always more markets to go into. Not always, but for the foreseeable future, yes. John wants to know, do government purchases qualify for any rebates? I'm sure police forces do not earn $150,000. I think these are just for individual buyers, or maybe for your small company's company car. I do not believe that there's any that the 7,500 includes that. There are incentives for other things, electrified buses and whatnot, but I don't believe there's any incentive for city fleets to make that big jump. And remember, if there is a recession, it hits everyone, not just Tesla. There are value buyers who will look at the price of, the price of gasoline and say, too much. The cost of maintenance, too much. The only thing that's going to cost you extra on a Tesla is tires, because people tend to stomp on it once in a while. John is saying the EU import tax is 10%. So a made in Germany Model Y can be 10% cheaper than the same car coming from Shanghai. And yeah, high gas, high maintenance, even with it being a stretch vehicle where it's more car than people were planning on getting, it can still be good news. And then, of course, there's all the demand levers you can pull. And I made a whole video about this. So handsome. So handsome. Uh-huh. And when I said throttle, I don't mean choke. I mean throttle up. But, whole video about it. There's a lot you can do. You can just add colors. You could make a special Q4 only edition color that people would buy. How many colors does the Porsche Taycan have? 18. 18 colors. Oh, that's crazy. That's too many. But that would be a demand lever you could easily pull that doesn't really cost much more. So what do we got there? Let's see. You could drop the price. Because they do have the fattest margins in the business. And if a recession does come, that generally can lower the price of your parts. That can make them cheaper. And we know you can lower the price because the Model Y costs less to build than the Model 3 and has a higher price tag. So I don't know how that works. Hashtag bring silver back. Could not agree more. I have one more fun story that I'm going to put all the way at the end, because first we're going to take questions and whatnot. And thanks as always to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. And yeah, there are videos there that are not here, and there are other ones that you'll get early. Is that a car on my screen? What is that about? So this is an animation I've been working on. I haven't been working on. I paid to have it made. By my 12-year-old son, who coded it in a half hour on his phone while laying in bed with a cold or a flu or whatever, or COVID. Maybe he had COVID. We think we might have all got it at some point because some of the lingering after effects seem to have gotten to us. So maybe we've had it. So this is the actual production. This is it, man. This is how many seconds, how many cars, and I flag coded them so you can see what's what. This is the actual rate of production from Q3. Now, I was tempted to cheat and just use the numbers from, what was it? From the final month for Shanghai, because it would have made the Chinese cars scream across yo screen. So, why don't we answer some questions before we get to the last story? And the last story is about Mr. Musk himself. Digital Blade Candidate says, but Wuwa's videos prove that there's no Tesla demand in China. Not? Yeah, and no... Well, remember, and this is another James Stevenson one, when it comes to the people spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt, an empty parking lot means they can't produce them fast enough. They've got a supply problem. And a full parking lot means there's no demand. So no matter how many cars are in the parking lot, it's bad news. So it's kind of fun. Yes, Greenpad, a budding software engineer. He wants to code. And the first one he tried to use was Unreal Engine. And that is not a beginner's toy. So a friend of mine suggested that I get him a book on coding in Scratch, which is a wonderful beginner's language, and he has mastered it and kind of outgrown it. So he thinks maybe it's time to move on to a better, more robust language. John asks, do I have an interview with Elon? I do not. That would be something, but I'm reasonably confident he does not know I exist. So we'll see. Right into my head. Yeah, I got to watch out for that. Do I think Tesla will hit over $1 in earnings per share for Q3? I don't know. I haven't looked at anyone's estimates. I will be doing something live for earnings, but we'll check it out. Let's see. Reminds me of Office macros back in the day. Do I have a comment on Nikola? So today, Trevor Milton was found guilty, which should come as no surprise to anyone. Hopefully, the company is able to recover from him the amount of money they had to pay in fines because that's ridiculous. He absolutely committed fraud. Let's see if I can do this. Had to. How worried am I about the geopolitical tensions impacting Tesla's growth in China long term? I don't know. I don't really think about it that much. These tensions have kind of always been there, and they'll always be there. So it's there's nothing I can do about it. And yeah, so I kind of ignore it, I guess. Politics will drive you insane. I choose. I used to be really, I used to follow it real close, and I just can't do it. I think in terms of getting back to the Nikola question, I think it's nice this will be in their rearview mirror, and they can focus on something else, like building trucks. My son coding is awesome. Give him some extra cheese from me or a bacon, lettuce, tomato. Yeah, I paid him. I offered him $50 for it, and he was like, yeah. And then what he should have done is not tell me it took a half hour, because that was... You got to make it seem like you're really earning it, you know? Trevor should have to sell his house to pay back investors. I think that's going to happen. Because now that he's been found guilty, a civil suit surely will follow. Everyone... Elon knows everyone. I don't know if he knows me. I'm considering... we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the channel. And I've made well over 500 videos between this channel and the other channel, whichever one you're watching now. And I think what would be a nice gift for my anniversary would be the ability to see the inside of one of the factories. It'd be very cool. JJ wants to know, has Tesla's stock price bottomed out yet? I don't think so. I think he needs to zip it a little bit and let the market start to forget all of the incredibly ham-fisted things he's been saying lately. Yeah. Oh, Jeff says that Trevor Milton has the biggest house in his state. Oh. MD Hofsey saying, no, the market is still headed south. I think it will take at least another month. The earnings could encourage investors, give them some confidence. It's fun to me to see that the price used to be double what it is now. And since then, production is up, deliveries are up, margins are up, and people have less confidence, which is interesting. Rob thinks Milton's going to jail. I don't know. Rich people tend not to go to jail. Daniel says, that would be Christmas walking around the factory. Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I've been to quite a few Tesla facilities. Never been inside. The market is being squeezed by the rate hikes. Yeah, we saw yesterday Tesla was up a hair, but so was GM, so was Ford, so was everybody. Maybe not Arcimoto. Last I saw, they were under $1. Oof. Market cap of like 35 million. It's, yeah. I sold all but one share in the twos somewhere. I still have one share. My 91 pennies of Arcimoto. Better Q4. Better Q4. Absolutely. Because Berlin and Austin are ramping. Let's look at the poll real quick. Let's do that. I asked, which factory is going to have the most, will grow by the most units, and the narrow winner is Austin, and 0 votes for Fremont, which I believe is correct. So that's fun. Let's see. Jeff says he never got his tour. Yeah, they used to offer factory tours, and now they don't. And they stopped that, as I understand, during lockdown, and just never resumed them. Trump would pardon Milton. I don't know, maybe, but I don't know that they know each other. It's not enough to be rich. You have to actually know him. Which factory will grow by the most percent? John wants to know. Well, I think Austin, because you start with a smaller number, it's easier to grow. Yeah. And Jeff is saying Fremont has got to be close to maxed out. Completely agree. Completely agree. So let's get on to this absolute silliness that I was talking about. I saw this today on a site called Reddit. Perhaps you've heard of it. China gives Tesla tax breaks 3 days after Musk's Taiwan advice. 42,000 upvotes. Now, this is published on taiwannews.com.tw. So we know what their perspective is. But that's not what I wanted to discuss. It's these comments. It's all about money. Musk criticized so much about Biden's COVID policy and was so mad about Californian government in 2020 when there was no vaccine and the situation was really bad. But when Chinese government locked down in 22 with much less cases and almost no ground to enforce such a strict lockdown, Tesla has a factory there, he shut his mouth. And then he talked about how he is an absolutist of the freedom of speech. My God, there is everything wrong with this. So Tesla factory was the last U.S. auto factory to reopen. Definitely in the U.S., maybe in the world. All the other auto factories were open. All of California was open. It was just one clerk in one county at the health department saying no. That's unreasonable. I can understand. And, the survival of the company was at stake. 100,000 jobs were at stake. And then, but when the Chinese, he didn't say, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. In fact, he pressured them to allow a closed loop system to get factory workers back in and production back on. So, yes, he did. And then he talked how he's an absolutist of the freedom of speech. That's not a contradiction. Somehow, I think Musk will soon find out all the different ways the U.S. government can F him. Unless he bribes some of the politicians. Sorry, I meant donate to them. Does he donate to politicians? I haven't really seen much of that. And you'll notice at all these EV summits, they're kind of never invited. He has so much free speech, 250 billion worth. Do you think that's his net worth today? That was it at the peak. Today it's probably, what, half that? So, the more I read about this guy, the more I want him to F off. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But it's because you're able to read about him. All these CEOs, I'm sure, are various flavors of jerk. Musk would sell his mother for a hot dog. No, he wouldn't. We know that because I'm sure someone would buy her for a hot dog, and he hasn't sold her. I just got banned from r/Elon Musk for trying to point out that he's making himself look really... No, you didn't. I went ahead and clicked on that user's profile. No, he went in and was trolling. So, yeah, you get banned for trolling. They didn't agree and banned me. How will life go on? Come on. So, what was the comment? Well, the Financial Times published an interview when he recommended Taiwan become absorbed as a special administrative zone that is reasonably palatable. Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. And from a business perspective, that would be good for Elon and Tesla and China. But from a freedom perspective, maybe not so good for Taiwan. So he sucks up to autocrats big time now. First, killing his internet service in Ukraine. That hasn't happened. No, he's asking them to pay for it. He's asking someone to pick up the tab. And it's being negotiated, I am sure. After allegedly talking to Putin, I don't believe that happened. And now she obviously rewards him for touting his home. Obviously rewards him. You think that this EV credit is because of this comment? Was wondering where Musk and his drive for innovation might go 2 years ago? Couldn't be more disappointed. Okay? He never cared about his products, just his image. That's demonstrably false, you dumbasses. Permission to mock him as Elon Musk. That's a good one. I gotta give you credit. Yeah, imagine his entire rise to power has actually been a long con by the Chinese in order to get inside access to the US's systems. They are in NASA, internet, logistics, energy. Next, free speech. What are you talking about? This very poorly upvoted comment. No need to turn everything into a conspiracy. Time for the people to tell me how wrong it is to call Musk a foreign asset. After all, they're not paying him in thousands in cash. They're building him factories and giving him tax breaks worth millions instead. The Shanghai factory cost $100 million just for the land. That's like $1 million an acre. That's expensive. That's not a bargain at all. And he doesn't own it. Tesla does not own the land. They lease it for 100 years. And all the things that they gave him are contingent upon massive amounts of taxes coming back in. It's not free money. It's a discount up front that makes China very rich. And then finally, the last comment that appears before clicking load more comments, you all know this is just a refresh of the electric car subsidies for all EVs in China, right? It's not Tesla specific. It just includes the S and X, which it didn't before, because they're being reintroduced to the market after a 2-year absence. Basically, every other EV manufacturer gets these too. All the way down here, it's got a couple of 37 upvotes, compared to all this absolute stupidity, 3,260 upvotes on this absolute stupidity. This is useful idiots in action. Oh yes, there are bots. Oh yes, there are paid influencers. The entire Fortune 500 has something to lose from one of Musk's ventures. Except maybe pharmaceutical. The big oil, big auto, big union. Defense contractors, space contractors, telecom. Infrastructure of all kinds. Mining. Oh my God. And we got to get all the way to the bottom to see the actual reality. It's just an extension of the subsidies that everyone else is already getting, that they were getting, that everyone's getting. This is a non-story. This has nothing to do with Taiwan. And yet the cotton-headed ding-dongs They love to hate him. And there are, of course, all the comments about the emerald mines, the apartheid emerald mines, which is not a thing, and all kinds of just made up stuff that doesn't. There are legitimate reasons to criticize him. Stick with those. Would it kill you to stick with those? Oh, so here we are at 1,475 seconds. 67 cars rolled out globally in Q3. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. So let's go ahead and just get this off my screen so I don't have to look at it. Did that clerk sell short? I don't think that clerk makes enough money to sell short. Okay. Elon's net worth is apparently $207 billion. So only short by more than almost every other billionaire on the list. Get the Cybertruck up on the screen. You got it, buddy. It was spotted. The Cybertruck was spotted today by Joe Tetmeyer. Heck of a guy. Yeah, you can see some of my channels I support. Let's see what else we got. Just want you to, Benjamin says, just want you to know I watch nearly every Tesla channel every day. Your response to these buffoonish comments resonate the most. Thank you. I also watch all those channels. I follow Tesla fairly closely. And again, make fun of him for legitimate reasons. There's no shortage of legitimate reasons, but making stuff up. China helping Tesla build their factory was, in my opinion, the turning point for Tesla. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's when I decided to invest, as I was watching the progress. It was, yeah. Who is this asked if I'm still paying Randy? He shut off his Patreon. So I didn't stop paying him. He just stopped accepting it. Randy is a heck of a guy. I got to meet him in Texas. It was very, very fun. Very briefly, because it was a very busy event. New York City lost out big when AOC stopped the Amazon office from going there. Did they, though? They still got the fulfillment centers. Those were coming either way. I don't know how much benefit there was to getting the office there. Twitter has the same crap floating about, too. And if I sold any shares, I'd be, yeah. Anyone else scrape 2 Benjis together this week to buy a share? Oh, hey, Brian Rashetsky. Good to see you. I have not. I bought 3 shares a while back when I sold my Arcimoto shares. Too bad Tesla won't buy a factory to produce those specialty vehicles. Yeah, they don't like to buy factories. They don't like to hermit crab into existing spaces when they can avoid it. Elon is pasty. Yeah, fine. I love it when some paparazzi got a picture of him without his shirt on at the beach or whatever, or the pool. I'm not sure where it was. And they're like, ha ha ha, fat. This is America, my friend. We're all fat. And, you know, why did he stop posting? I think it was his new job. I think what I heard was that his new job was very demanding. And I think he might have had a shoulder injury or something that was also occupying some headspace. Jeff bought a bunch of shares over the last few weeks. Me and Leo catching falling knives. Yeah, I wondered if you were going to do that. I seem to recall you had some powder. It's a tank disguised as a triangle with wheels. Loving the new Model X like crazy. Yeah. So is Arcimoto in trouble? I want them to succeed. Maybe. They may be in trouble. They're going to have difficulty raising money if they need to do that. And every time the CEO is out. Mark Frohnmeyer has been removed, which I think is for the best. He's a visionary. He is not an executive. The company is now being run by his executives. So hopefully they can actually get products into volume production. And if they can't, they are doomed. David says he disagrees about the overweight thing. He's in shape, provided that round is a shape. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Who is this? Says, that's unfortunate. He was my second favorite. Yeah. Brian Rushetsky bought some fractional shares today. Nice. I don't think this is the bottom, but I feel like it's close to it. Another interview with Mark to get to the bottom of what's up. I'm confident he is not in a position to speak publicly. I had sent a message to him, I assume when the drama was happening and people didn't know yet. So that was interesting. I thought my goal was once 69 shares, and now I have almost 221 shares. Good job, Brian Rushetsky. That's great. And again, the long-term outlook remains solid. Not much of a chance they would package Cybertruck bodies like that. Why not? Why not? Plenty of comments in the pre-show chat about how it might just be a prank. And if it is, it's a great prank. Still holding my 30 Arcimoto shares, diamond hands. Yeah, you might as well. I mean, if you sell them, what are you going to buy with it? 4 shares of Palantir? So that's it. We are at the half-hour mark. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. What did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave it in the comments. This was fun. I hope you enjoyed the animation of the cars going by in real time. In a half hour on the main channel, a video will post with a 2-hour version of this, so you can put it on and just kind of zen out. You can leave it on in the background if you need a pick-me-up kind of day. It's fun. It's fun. And next quarter I might make a longer one, if that's something you guys want. If you want a 10-hour, 24-hour, I don't know. And of course we'll make refinements, make the cars clearer as to which ones are which, maybe motion blur the wheels so they appear to be driving, all that. It'll be fun. So thank you all for tuning in, and yeah, we'll talk to you real soon. Now I'm going to let it sit another minute so it doesn't cut off too soon.